What's up, everybody? This is Peter Schrager for the Fox Sports NFL Cheat Sheet Championship Game Round. We've made it. Here are 5 things that I'm talking about. Number 1, Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo is a genius, and he is a mastermind, and he has put the clamps on not only Patrick Mahomes twice, but Travis Kelce twice in the last 2 games, and also Josh Allen last week in that Bills fireball offense that they had rolling going into the AFC divisional rounds. So, of course, he got interviewed for all 5 jobs that are open in the head coaching world, right? Of course, he spent the last 2 weeks interviewing and putting his name out there and trying to get to know these owners. No, Lou Anarumo got no interviews. Brian Callahan, the offensive coordinator of the Bengals, he got 1 interview, almost a courtesy from Jim Irsay and the Colts. And you go up and down that Bengals coaching staff, and it's one guy after another who is anonymous, who wasn't respected, and who is just going about his business and finding a way to draw up game plans to get wins. I think Lou Anarumo is the biggest X factor in this game on Sunday between the Chiefs and the Bengals. And the fact that not a single owner thought to maybe pick his brain and see, hey, how come you're the best at halftime adjustments? Hey, how come you're able to stop Mahomes and Allen when none of the other coaches can? It just confounds me. Lou Anarumo, I look for him to be the X factor. If he could put the clamps on Kelce and Mahomes again, we'll be talking about the Bengals in the Super Bowl next week. Number 2, the NFL finalists for the awards were announced on Thursday, and I have no qualms with any of them. We can go into the Coach of the Year, and how do you not include this guy, or go into Defensive Player of the Year, and hey, what about that guy? The only one that I think was a bit of an omission, where was Travis Kelce in the Offensive Player of the Year award finalist list? Look, Kelce, maybe we're used to it. Maybe we take it for granted. Kelce had an incredible season, maybe the best season of his pro career at the age of 33. He had the 3rd most receptions in the entire league with 110. He had the 8th most receiving yards this season with nearly 1,500, and he had the 3rd most receiving touchdowns in the entire NFL. He did this at 33 without Tyreek Hill out there. He also was an outstanding blocker, and he seems to be getting better with age. He had 14 catches last week, and I know that the divisional round doesn't count towards the voting, but you're going to talk about offensive players of the year. How do you not include Travis Kelce, the very best at the tight end position? And I would argue he might be the very best at his position, and there might be no number 2 close in anyone else's. Number 3, I like the Panthers hiring Frank Reich as their head coach. Frank Reich was the first quarterback to ever throw a touchdown pass for the Carolina Panthers franchise. He did that in their inaugural year when he came over from Buffalo and was the expansion quarterback. He also brings a stability to Carolina, and he also brings a trusted voice. I think what Doug Peterson did this year in Jacksonville was really important for guys like Frank Reich, who were head coaches, fired, took some time, analyzed the landscape, and they can come right back in and work with a young quarterback and get them to where they need to be as a veteran coach. Of course, we know what Frank Reich did as a player, and of course, you know what he did as a coach, both in Philadelphia and in those years in Indianapolis and San Diego. I think Frank Reich comes in. I know the Sean Payton thing was appealing, and for a while there was thoughts that they might go with a young upstart offensive coordinator. No. Frank Reich comes in, brings stability, and as a former Panther himself, I think there's a really cool tie there. Number 4, I think Isaiah Pacheco might end up being the biggest player in Sunday's Chiefs versus Bengals game. Pacheco's story is awesome. As we all go nuts about Brock Purdy as a 7th round pick, Isaiah Pacheco also a 7th round pick, and he runs hard. His story is one of great triumph. He's lost 2 siblings in his life. He was a captain at Rutgers. He was overlooked in the pre-draft process. He was overlooked in the draft, and he has only just come along and been the number 1 dude for Kansas City in that backfield. You put him and McKinnon together. McKinnon more of a receiving back and a blocking back. Pacheco more of the heavy runner. I think they will be the ones that establish whether or not Kansas City can win in the trenches against a really good Cincinnati defense. Mention Lou Anarumo and what he plans to do to kind of bottle up Mahomes and Kelce. If Isaiah Pacheco can get going, a guy who nearly had 1,000 yards as a rookie and a 7th round pick, I think Kansas City is going to be a good spot. Pacheco, of course, had the big play on that Chad Henne drive last week against the Jaguars. Wouldn't be shocked if they try to get Pacheco going early and often against Cincinnati on Sunday. Number 5, the Eagles have 2 secret weapons on their coaching staff. And when I say secret weapons, bear with me here. Their names are Tyler Scudder and DK McDonald. You don't know those names. Tyler Scudder is a defensive assistant at the bottom of the org chart. DK McDonald is an assistant defensive backs coach, and both of those guys are going to play huge roles in the game against Brock Purdy and the 49ers. Why? Because when Brock Purdy was at Iowa State as the quarterback of the Iowa State Cyclones, it just so happened that the Eagles have two coaches, McDonald and Scudder, who were defensive coaches for Iowa State during that time. Yes, they were defensive coaches for Brock Purdy at Iowa State. So these guys practiced against Purdy, were in the trenches with Purdy, went on all the road trips with Purdy. Why does that matter? If Brock Purdy, who is such a mystery to all these coaches and doesn't have a whole body of film going back years and years, if Brock Purdy has a tick, if Brock Purdy has something that makes him uncomfortable, if Brock Purdy has an ex-girlfriend that might really get under his skin that these guys know about, this is the time to use that information. We're at the point right now where the greatest offensive minds in the entire game can't put the clamps on Brock Purdy. So what does it take? It might take a little bit of intelligence from two guys who are coming from the college ranks who saw him every single day. Remember these names. They are not going to be on the Fox broadcast, I assure you, but they might be important for the game plan. Tyler Scudder and DK McDonald. Go to the bank with it. There you go. Those are the Eagles' secret weapons. Those are my 5 thoughts for the weekend. Enjoy the games. They're going to be awesome. If you're looking for my stuff, you can head over to the Fox Sports digital app, or you can check me out at pschrags, PSCHRAGS on Twitter. Of course, like every week, I'll be on Fox NFL Kickoff on Sunday. We got 2 beauties. Let's go.